everyone involved in the Oak Island universe is that type of person. You guys, I can tell, you're that type of person. You hear a story like this, you latch onto it like a dog, and you're just like, let's go. And yes, it's frustrating. And yes, you want it to be solved tomorrow. And yes, who doesn't want to find a chest of gold? Of course we do. Of course, everyone does. But it doesn't work like that sometimes. These things are hard. And so it's taking what it's taking. And that is, in this case, 10 years.
Right.
It will explain parts of North American history you've never thought about.
See, I can't. The History Channel could not have come up with a better teaser than we just did right here. So I tell you what, stay tuned, folks, because this is going to be a good one. I can't wait.
This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island. And I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Tom, what do you think? We got just one episode left.
How they're going to cram that all into 60 minutes, I have no idea.
I know. I was thinking it was going to be a two-parter.
Unless the second part starts in October or November when the next season starts.
Yeah.
To be continued. I can see it now. To be continued.
Yeah, to be continued. Oh, how are you doing, folks? Glad you're here tonight. Jeff here with the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream, and running shotgun, of course, is Mr. Tom Burns. Tom, thank you so much for being here tonight, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I love it. I tell you what, and Linda down, she's working the chat for us again tonight, as always, and doing a fantastic job and keeping me in line when I forget people's names and all that kind of stuff as we go along. And of course, Jan helping out with the synopsis once again, fabulous synopsis. So we really appreciate that. Folks, guess what? We are going to have a surprise visit next week. When we do the show on Wednesday night next week, or a surprise visit of somebody you haven't seen in a while on this podcast. So I'll just leave it at that for now. But yeah, so we're going to have a surprise visit next week. So that'll be good. And I think Colin Jameson is going to be with us next week. He said
Colin's supposed to be back from out of town, I think. Yep.
Yep. He's on a whirlwind trip right now. And when he gets back, he's going to join us.
It's a business trip, folks.
Yes, the business. The business trip indeed. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, thank you guys for being here with us tonight. I tell you what, I can't I love the episode last night, but the whole time I'm thinking, man, there's only one left. And like you said, I hope they got a lot to get in there. But it's like the little thumbnail that I made. Oh, he's heading home now. That's good. All right. The little thumbnail that I made has the smiling faces. I grabbed those from next week's show. It's the smiling faces of Rick and Marty Lagina. And it was, they're both down in the garden shaft and they're both big smiles on their faces. So let's hope that it's something good that they're, I love the editing. We know the editing that Prometheus likes to do. They fancy editing, but anyway, so we hope
editorial license is a wonderful thing.
Oh, it certainly is. That's for sure. It is for sure.
Except we're on to them.
We know what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I tell you what, it's a beautiful day here in Michigan today. I tell you what, absolutely wonderful. And I noticed the ticks are out. So yeah, I found my first day. It wasn't on me, but I saw the first tick.
Oh, there, yeah.
That's one creature or insect or whatever. A creation that I wonder why. What good does a tick do? I don't know. Anyway, I digress for a moment. All right. So tonight,
people sell it the tick medicine and tick repellent. It makes them rich.
There you go. Yes, that's
maybe they own shares.
Yeah. Yes, in their own demise. Yes, back in Michigan. Yes, I am. Yes, Jess. Thank you. I am happy to be back. Yes, absolutely. And and we have a giveaway tonight. We're going to be doing that in a little bit, about halfway through the show tonight. That's correct, Kat. There is no use for a tick that I can think of. Anyway, the black flies, they have arrived as well. Yes, that's for sure. We have a giveaway that we're going to do tonight. And then again, this was another that was donated. And I think it was, I forgot the name already, who donated it. Linda will put it up in the chat probably because she's smiling knowing that I forgot. And she just told me like a few minutes ago. And it's this book right here, Irresistible North, by Renee Cope. Thank you. I was going to say that, but I was thinking, oh, is that right? Is that what they? So thank you, Renee, for donating this book here, Irresistible North. And this is by the gentleman who has been on this podcast before, twice actually. With the he's involved with Luca Santoni and Gretchen Cornwall in the Templars series. He's been in there twice. It's Andre de Robelant, and that is his book about the Zeno brothers, the trail of the Zeno brothers. So that's going to be a good one. So yeah, we'll get that, and we'll do that giveaway here in just a little bit. And as always, to be involved in the giveaway, you must join our Facebook group, which is the Curse of Oak Island and Beyond, and the link is down in the description down below. You can click on that. You go out there, and it is a private group, but you you get vetted to some degree to make sure you're a real account and all of that, and then let you get in. And then when Linda will post, she'll put up a post of what the giveaway is, and you just simply say yes. That's all you got to do is say yes in the post as a comment, and you are automatically entered. Yes, right there. Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, because we talk about that show too. So that's how you get entered for the giveaways, and that's the only way to do it. And you must be present to win. So we'll do a spin for that later on and get that looked at. And let's see what else. Subscribe to the channel if you would, please. We have hit and gone past the 5,000 subscriber mark. I'm really happy about that. Thank you all of you that are subscribers to this channel. I really, really appreciate that very much. We have crossed the 5,000 mark and going. So I'm really, thank you. Really happy about that. That was one of the little plateaus that I wanted to reach, and we finally got there. So really cool. Thank you guys for that. And if you like the content of our show, give us a thumbs up. That always helps with the YouTube algorithms and all that happy stuff. Gets it out, seen by more people. YouTube will actually advertise you more if you have lots of likes and after show comments and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, all right. Weather going good up there? Has everything been well up there?
In New Brunswick, in the Maritimes, it's been really nice the last few days. It's going to be nice tomorrow. I'm going to hit the water tomorrow, do a little fishing myself. So,
ooh, all right. Yeah, the boat's all ready to go.
Boat's ready to go. Fixed a few minor hiccups today. She'll be in the water first thing in the morning.
Yep, awesome. That's great. Oh, Ryan, thank you so much. Congrats on the 5K. Thank you, Ryan. That's very nice of you. But yes, thank you for that. That's a big number for me. I was really, when we started this out a couple of years ago, I honestly didn't have a clue where we would ever get to with the number of subscribers. We had over 30,000 on our Facebook group page, and now we've crossed 5,000 on the YouTube channel. So I really appreciate that. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. And click on that notification bell so you know when we got new content coming out. All right. Fishing, always a good day. Yes.
Never a bad day on the water.
Yeah, for sure. Huh? All right. So let's get started with it, shall we? It's season 10, episode number 24, Down the Hatch. And I tell you what, and I got to hand it to Kat. That is in the chat here tonight, because I don't know how it was a couple of weeks ago right around the time that they first found the round stone feature in lot 5, that in our Discord channel, we were over there chatting it up, and Kat had mentioned, well, I think that might be the hatch. And I'm like, no. And I remember that. I poo-pooed all over it. Said, no. It's too far away. It
not close enough. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
Well, that just goes to show you right there that Jeff is not right all the time. I don't even know what kind of a percentage I have for being correct on stuff. Probably not 50-50, maybe. I don't know.
100% on the speculation.
Yes, absolutely. So, why is that? My picture should be showing. There we go. There it is. All right. So yeah, so I could have been wrong. It might be the hatch. We'll get to that in just a little bit
Yeah.
because
Jim said the hatch as well. So
yeah, yep. So now what did I say, Jeff? Robert? I don't know. Did you say it too? You might have. Yeah,
Get
but I was because we compared it. We took Zena's map, and we know it's just a drawing of a map that somebody had done. It wasn't the actual map. But we overlaid it over Oak Island and looked at the lots, and it was like on lot 2 or something on Zena's map.
yeah, I agree. To me, it didn't look like it was. If you were going to actually do a physical comparison, it didn't look like it was in the right spot.
Right. And that's what I was going on. But we know that that was just a, Zena's map. So who knows? Anyway, it could turn out very well to be the hatch, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit as we go along here. All right, so Oak Island down the hatch, and again, a beautiful shot. You can see the long reach excavator over here, and and I look at these pictures sometimes, and I begin to wonder. Oh, thank you, Kat. Speaking of Kat, there she is right there. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and
So
you notice Billy used 2 different excavators down there, right? He used the long reach this week, and last week he was using the one with the regular arm on it.
yeah, yep,
Yeah, multiple trowels.
yes, multiple Billy trials there. Hey, Deidre, how you doing? Glad you're here tonight. So it doesn't look like this particular picture. I mean, they recycle these pictures. Obviously, you can see the color changes. Some trees have actually lost their leaves, so it's in the fall. But it doesn't look like this picture like they did the digging over there. Oh, I got to get that going, don't I? The pointer. Because they're digging right in here was where they were digging on the episode. But anyway,
I wonder if that's the spot they filled back in. Remember they're talking about filling a spot back in too?
yeah, yep.
Hard
And
to say.
Who's that saying this? Oh, what? Why is there's this banner over top of my Facebook? That was Michelle. And I predict that the eye of the swamp is the December triangle. Laird was showing his new trowel. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Michelle thinks it's the turn on your mouse tool. Yes. Yes. He gave it to me. Yeah. All right. Yes, I'll get it going here. So yeah. So really, yeah. Are you gonna? Michelle just went public with that, saying that that the eye of the swamp is the December triangle. Wouldn't that be interesting? We shall see. Hopefully we'll get to find out if it is or not. All right, get that pointer going. All right. So there's our long shot, and here's our close up looking at the money pit area. I just love these aerial shots, man. They're so cool. So as we get started in the garden shaft, that's where they go first. You got Scott and Charles coming out to meet with Roger. And here they are there. They're grouping up to kind of get an idea of where they at. And Roger tells them that they're at 90 feet with the casing. Now, the casing is the actual one of the pipes that they're putting down, right? Because the casing is not the...
Well, he said that, and I wasn't sure if they were. It doesn't look like they're doing casing for each drill that they put down.
No. Right? I was a little
confused. Yeah, it was a little weird to hear him say casing.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah, but he did. He said the casing. So, and again, the timing of when they pulled these pieces together, we don't know if it all matches up exactly with the timeline. But anyway,
when you think about it, though, it would have to be some kind of casing because the bottom of the shaft is 82 feet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if they're at 90 feet, there's 8 feet not accounted for.
Exactly. Yep.
So.
Yep.
Could just be terminology.
Yeah, I could very well be. Yep. Let's see. I think they did it for this one so it wouldn't collapse on them while they were explored lower. Yep. That could be very well true. Well, he was talking about he hopes that they punch through in the next 4 to 5 feet. And then you heard Roger say that he thought it was going to be happening before that. Yeah. He kind of went out on a limb and said, I think it's going to be...
What information do they have that puts him to be that confident that they're that close?
I don't know. But he was, and he was right. Turns out he was right. Yeah, he knows. I mean, maybe it's his experience as a miner, I guess. I don't know, but doing this kind of thing for a living. But Scott reminds him, of course, about how they believe that there's a tunnel, and we've talked about this before. The tunnel that's running underneath the north corner. They call this the north corner, right here.
Yep.
The north running underneath the north corner of the garden shaft, and that's also a good indication that if there is a tunnel running underneath there, that's why that corner is sinking. It's a little lower than the rest, and we showed that very clearly. You could see it very clearly in last week's show, that they showed that you could actually see the difference in how it was sunk down in that one side.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, usually casings are left in the hole after all the drilling operations are done. Right, that's what I kind of thought too. So, yeah, but maybe I'm missing it on the terminology there for some reason. But yeah, so that's where it's at, and they talked about this tunnel like along right here for a long time now. As they were following it when they were back here drilling the DN8 and DN 9.5 and 11.5 and 12.5. And then carrying that gold. And that's why they were saying that they think that there's gold content in the water over here, that they were taking samples off the wood. If you remember that, they were pulling those samples. Every time they would drill in, they would cut a piece of wood in the side of the old shaft, and they would drill the probe hole down there, and they would test in that wood to see if it had any gold or silver content. And all of them were coming back down that deep, were coming back with gold content. And I think, did they say it was getting stronger as they went down?
I think, yeah, I think they're in the prime area there. Yeah.
So, what are they going to do when the water comes in? Well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because, and I was wondering, we're going to show a couple pictures here as we go along, talking about, water down in there. That's been one of my concerns as well. I mentioned that before. Remember when they were talking about the beam, or showing the pictures of the beam that was broken down there right at that 80-foot level? And there was and I was talking about the pressure that's on that side, because that would have been, if I'm correct on this, that would have been the beams that were along this wall.
I think so, yeah.
So that would indicate that there's something out here that was putting a lot of pressure on that wall.
Something soft enough and fluid enough, whether it's mud, muck, clay, something that will move because it's pushing the wall in, right?
Yes, exactly. Enough to crack those beams. So yeah. So Renee says, I'm hoping their little yellow vests have a line to pull when it makes a floater. Yeah, they do have those kind of float. I don't know if these guys are using those kind of flotation vests, but I've seen those. They got a little CO2 cartridge. You pull the lever, it blows up, and now you've got a floaty vest. I don't know if those are the type, but boy, you'd almost think that they would want to, right? Because I mean, how easy would it be for part of that to cave, crumble, and water start pouring in? Not where they've done their work, because they are very confident in their work as they went down, but the down below them in the old structure. I don't know. Hold your breath, pull the cord, and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. As we know, in some of the other shafts they dug, like shaft 12, they dug down, wherever the depth was, right? And then they left it, came back overnight, and the water had risen to like 25 feet from the surface.
Yeah, exactly.
So whether it came in as one big gush, dribbled in overnight, it's still a lot of water to move.
Exactly.
In a short amount of time.
Yep. So that's what they're hoping. They're hoping they're going to be able to tap into this shaft, this tunnel. The difference between the shaft is vertical and tunnel is horizontal. So that they're hoping they will be able to punch into this tunnel down there when they get to that depth. One thing about it too is that tunnel, if the garden shaft wall is sinking down there, does that mean that shaft is likely collapsing? We don't know yet, but and we've seen, how many times have we seen other ones that have collapsed or whatnot, and whether or not it's big enough for a person to get into, I don't know. Well, hopefully we'll get to find that out coming up. Here it is. They're showing a picture of them guys. They're actually drilling, and that's a little bit bigger of a drill bit than they were using before. I think they called that a 4-inch or something.
That's a 4-inch. Yeah.
The 4-inch is what I thought too. Yeah, the 4-inch drill bit, popping these holes down there, and that's basically what they're hoping for right there. that it would be able to punch through into that tunnel that's running underneath that corner. This is what they're hoping for, and I'm hoping for, you know. So that's pretty much where they were wrapping up over there during this portion of that. Then they call over Rick.
Yep.
And Scott called him on the phone. That's what he was getting this call right here. We're at about 91 feet, and they think that they have reached a tunnel. And everybody was like, you know, they were all standing there. So they pack up and they head on over to the garden shaft to talk to. I think Charles and Scott were over there to have a look. And here's the hole, one of the holes that they punched down through there in the bottom. Now this is down below the wood planking at the on the bottom at the 82-foot level. And they decided to go ahead and put in a casing to get that down there and shove it into the hole, as somebody mentioned earlier, to keep the hole from collapsing, and get a camera down in it.
Yep.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they put the casing down just so they could slide that camera down and not have it collapse on the camera, and then you can kiss your camera goodbye. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. You'd never get it out of there. It's like snagging your fish hook on a tree down there down below. You'll never get it back. They were kind of thumping on it a little bit, and it sounded like wood to them, and it does make a little bit of a difference. I was out out uncovering the chapel vault outside in my yard. Actually, it's a septic tank, and it makes that sound when you stick a rod in. That's what I was doing. I'm probing and I'm sticking a rod down there, and you hit it, and you can tell the difference between wood and concrete anyway.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely makes a different type of sound, and it makes a different kind of feel in the rod when you're tamping it. So, so there they go with a sewer drain camera, and they're putting it down in there. That's it going down. And that's a look down inside the bottom of that casing at about 91 feet, I guess they said 91 feet.
Yeah, 90. Yeah.
Yep. It's got mud on top of it, but you can see right there. You can see some wood right in there. Right on the bottom. So, I mean, I don't know. To me, that if it's wood, and they said it was because they felt it, and to them it felt like wood.
Yep.
I could not see the wood. Jim says he can't see the wood. I mean, you're right. It doesn't. I don't see it looks grainy to me. You can look. I mean, it's not a clear picture.
It's a brown curvy something.
Yeah. And why is it curving right there? I don't know, but probably because that's the edge of the casing. It's got to be. This little curve right here on the bottom has got to be the edge of the casing. So you're looking at the metal, or I think it was metal. It looked like they said it was PVC, but I think it's actually metal. But it might have been PVC. I don't know. It was black. But you see that line right there, and that looks like wood to me with clay on top of it. It doesn't look like a rock.
It's not gray. That's all we can say for sure.
Right. Looks like it might be a barrel, right? I don't know.
But again, we're only seeing this is what a 4-inch hole they've got drilled there. So
yeah, yep.
That's how small a piece of wood it is.
Right. So I mean, that's pretty cool, though. To me, it sounds like, and it's at the right depth. It's at the right depth to be the tunnel that they think they were chasing across there to begin with. Yep. So to me, that's the wood. I mean, that's the wood right there. All this right here has got to be the wood.
Yep.
And that, to me, if it's wood down there, I'm putting money on that. That's the tunnel that they've been chasing. All right. So, this picture here, I brought this picture up. This one was one that Tom sent over because people have asked about the pumping of water out of the garden shaft. And I reached out and I asked that question. I haven't got an answer yet completely on that, because all of us, there's a lot of people who've been asking that question. about whether or not they've had to pump water. We know that when they put caissons in and they put the boreholes in there, the wells, that they have hit water in almost every single one of them. I can't think of one that they haven't hit water in the money pit.
Well, I mean, any place you drill a well 100 feet or more, you're probably going to hit water
Anyway,
of some sort.
regardless.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of some
of
sort.
some sort,
Yeah.
right. And so, are they pumping water out all the time? Well, I mean, it kind of Tom pointed this one out, and he's getting pretty good at looking at all these pictures and stuff. But right here, if you notice this line right here,
Yeah. Where we saw
that
the holding tank that they pumped other things into before,
right,
and now they've got the backhoe sitting down there to take the silt out of the bottom of it. So
yep,
they're not taking a risk of pumping anything away.
right. Let me get rid of this, and I'm going to zoom in here as best I can. It's on the very edge, but you can see the tank right there, and it's got water in it.
Yep.
Brown or gray, mucky water.
And there's other
Right here on
pictures
the-
from earlier in the year too. If you look behind the tank is dry, but there's like a holding pool there where they must be draining it off when they're
Mhm.
done with it. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, at least in this particular picture, they are pumping water out of the garden shaft. Now, does that mean, and that's what I was thinking before, if that tunnel that's running underneath the garden shaft is flooded and they punch a hole into it, is that going to make that water start coming up? Now, there was a couple of scenes while the guys were drilling down there that you could kind of see between the planks, and I was looking for shiny movement, and there was shiny movement of looked
Mhm.
like water underneath there. Now, remember back last week when Marty Lagina went down into the bottom of the pit, the garden shaft, and he pulled the board aside. There was very little water down there. It was mostly just a bottom of where they stopped digging, right?
Yep.
So, and I mean, we don't know if there was a pump down there at the time, but if they poke a hole and they hit the tunnel that's running underneath, and that tunnel happens to be flooded, which I'm betting it is, would that not then allow water to start coming up into?
I think only if the water in the tunnel has an area that is higher than where you open the hole, right?
Right.
Water will like if you're digging a hole down here, the water's up here, the water will find its own level,
Yes.
right? But if the flood tunnels are choked off and everything's down at the 90-foot level, there's
Mhm.
nothing to push that water up,
Right.
right? So it would
Very
stay
good point.
flat. It would stay flat.
Yeah. So we're going to find out. I mean, but I did ask that question. Hello, Harla. But I did ask that question, and because it's just one of those things that I'm curious about. I was asking Doug about it some time ago about when
Mhm.
they punch holes in the with the caissons and all that stuff. Depends
Mhm.
on the hydrostatic pressure there. Yeah. Thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point.
Yeah, and
But
that's just the water finding its own level, hydrostatic
exactly.
pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if that's a flood tunnel, right, and the flood tunnel's been blown up, closed off, collapsed in, and there's just water laying down there, the flood tunnel's useless anyway. It's not going to flood anything.
Right. Yep.
There's no water to push the other water.
Yep. So, but good catch on that to find that pipe.
Mhm.
So they are at least pulling some water out of there,
Mhm.
and they're pumping it into that holding tank, or were, and then it's going from
I
there.
would imagine they're going to take that silt out of there, and they're going to find out if there's. I would suspect they're going to look through it and make sure that they didn't pump
Oh.
anything, like a small blue gem out of it or something like that.
A small copper-colored item with blue gems in it.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that, I'm glad you spotted this, but that's I kept thinking about the same thing when that hammer grab was hammer grabbing all this stuff out of the garden shaft, and it was putting it
Yep.
in the back of the dump truck, that you see sitting right there up here on the top of the screen.
Mhm.
And it was going and dumping that stuff somewhere and coming back over to get more. I'm assuming that at some point they're going to go through all of that.
That would be stockpiled for sure.
We might see that at the beginning. They didn't talk about it at all this season. So hopefully they're going to be going through it next season.
I would say stockpile, let it dry out, and then just let them fan it around and get
Mm-hmm.
Gary in there.
Yep. So, yeah, But good catch on that. That's and I missed it. I know. I can't believe I missed it, right? I'm always looking for these things on it. And I didn't catch it. I didn't see it. But Tom did. But I just love this picture. You can see 10x over here. So you can get an idea of how far 10x is from the garden shaft and up quite a bit higher, and goes down a lot deeper, 235 feet.
Yep.
So but these pictures are so revealing. All right. So now we jump over to, well, let's go first. We'll go to the war room. I didn't have any pictures for this because, quite honestly, there wasn't really anything to show. But they jump over to the war room where Rick and Marty and the team are meeting in the war room to discuss the trip taken over to Italy by Rick, Doug, Alex, and Peter to look for clues that relate to the mystery on Oak Island. And I kind of said this last week as we were talking about this, but the trips that they take over when they go overseas, every one of them has been very fruitful, I think. They've come up with some really cool stuff.
Well, they get people like Corian doing the homework first, right?
Yep. And Emiliano.
And you can tell them about it, but seeing it's believing it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And they're finding a lot of very interesting things. Now, this latest one, of course, they went over and they found that the cross with the 4 dots in the 4 corners, that was found. And then also they saw, and when they were down in that tunnel, they saw the O with a circle with the dot in the center for the HO stone. They saw the HIC that was carved on the one that, so, I mean, and something that Tom and I were talking about this ciphers. Now you get Jake Roberts and John and them guys all involved in these ciphers, and they can see things. But Tom brought up a very good point about if they're going to write something like that, or have a cipher of some sort, like the goose paw or something, they're going to have to tell somebody when they go over there what to be looking for. I would think, right?
Yeah. If you have a methodology behind what you do, right, and it means nothing to anybody else, but if I have a secret and I explain that secret to Jeff, and I say, here's what we're doing with the words, and here's how we're going to form them, and here's what you need to look for is an overlay of one on the other. Now Jeff knows what to look for.
Right.
So Jeff can go over and go, oh, there it is.
There it is. And
everybody else walks right by it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the idea. And it might be a marker. It might be a directional marker. It might be, tell you it might be a particular sign that tells you to go to some
circle or triangle of rocks you left on the ground.
Yeah, or triangle. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. So, but they every time they go over there, they find something. When they were in the prison and dome, they found the cross, which they turned around 2 weeks later and found the lead cross on Oak Island that looked just like it. The tree of life they found over there. They found so many different things. That one, when they were in that one church and they saw looked like what I call like a double tile, but it was a line with a T on top and then a line on the bottom that made it look like it was that was some sort of a mason's mark of some sort. And they thought, well, that might be it matches what they think is on the 90-foot stone. We got into a big discussion in Discord about the 90-foot stone last night. And we were talking about whether or not the thing is actually, I mean, we don't know that the figures that are on it, the symbols that are on it are for real for what they keep showing on the television show. But we also don't know if the stone itself is real. We think it is. There's been stories written about it, but
you can follow the rumors of where it was and who had it and when it went where and everything else. But beyond that, there's no physical proof that it existed.
Right. It ended up, it was supposed to be in the fireplace. It was a fireplace stone in the fireplace of the Smith house. So, and again, where did it go from there? Supposedly ended up in the book bindery, so they could raise money for it, but we don't know if it exists. But anyway, those symbols over there, they saw that one that looked like a mason's mark on the wall in that church over in Portugal. So, but every time they go over there, they find something very interesting, and that's what they were talking. And I'm so glad that they have people like Corian and also Emiliano over in those places to hunt down these other people. And that's where we got to see Andrea de Robelant. He was over there and he talked to them about the Zeno brothers. And these other guys, the guy that was talking about the alignment of the stars,
Right.
and dating the cross, Nolan's cross. I mean, and that's another odd thing, isn't it, Tom? Is that so many things now? I mean, we've been all over the board with dates of items from before 1000 AD to
Hmm.
1800s. And now they're starting to find more and more things that are dating right around 1200 to 1300, right in that range.
Yep. I mean, you get down into the south of France. You're next door to Portugal. You're
Mhm,
next to the seaway into the Mediterranean, which is Rome, Sicily, those places.
mhm.
So I mean, somebody was over there was doing something, and it wound up over here.
Yeah,
For some reason, they wound up here. What they did or what they left behind, we have yet to determine. But
yep, exactly.
it leaves less doubt all the time that they were here.
Yeah, yep. And you know about that HO stone? One more thing about that is there are more symbols. They always talk about the H and
Oh
then the
yeah.
O and the cross in the middle with the four dots. So you got the H and the dot, and then we don't know the orientation of that. It
No.
could have been the other way around. It could have been the circle with the dot and then the cross and then the H, which I thought kind of looked like an A with
Hmm.
that little chevron instead of a straight line across the
Yep.
A, just like the one in the church on the pillar had. It
Mhm.
had an A, but it had that
Yep.
chevron on it. But there's other symbols on that stone. If you look at that very closely, you pointed out a couple. There's another circle with a dot in it down
Mhm.
below,
Yep.
and then there's like a Y on its
Hmm.
side.
Looked like that missing symbol from the Liverpool stone,
Exactly.
but the rest of it's gone, broken off, so we don't know
Right.
what it
And
was.
above the H and the O, there's symbols up there too that are
Oh yeah.
so faded
And on,
out you
on
can
the
barely
right
see.
hand side of it, it looks like another curve coming down with a V.
Yep. So I think that HO stone, they got at least they got a photograph of that.
Mm.
Um, but I think there's more to be told from that HO stone. Man,
Mhm.
I wish there was more pieces to it, but I guess there are a couple pieces around it floating around somewhere. A Holy Templar gold. Yeah. So, and you seen what Alex had come up with, is that possibly one of those ciphers that Jake Roberts would be all over? You know, turning that HIC into the H plus or Templar symbol and then the O
Mhm.
for gold. I don't know. I mean,
Mhm.
it was a
If you
great
were
thought.
yeah, if you were told that's what the symbols to look for and here's what it means, then that's what you're going to go look for.
Exactly.
It's impossible to prove them wrong.
Exactly. Well, yeah, you can't. Yeah,
Mm.
you're exactly right. So, oh, I don't know. But the HO stone was found in the 1920s, but destroyed by searchers who
Yeah,
thought there was a treasure buried underneath it, so they blew it up. Oh my gosh!
which
Without
was totally normal at the time.
and I know I realize that, but even the idea is not clearly document everything that was on it. I find that fascinating that nobody would have gone to that extent and documented it.
At the time, not important.
Yeah, that just blows my
Mhm.
mind that
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to preserve that. Um, yeah, I don't know. All right. So, but it was a good kind of a recap. And of course, we're going to see much more, I think, coming from those guys. And then we found out that Corian and Christopher Morford are actually writing a book that's coming out next year. That's going to be cool. So, looking forward to that.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting. Those two guys. And we're going to
Hmm.
have them back on the show. I know I've got them in the little intro video. But we're going to get them back on the show, of course, talking about some of the things that and again, kind of recapping all of season 10 with us. Um, that's very true, Seth. If somebody could have and just never shared it. Same thing with the HO stone. They think they wrote it down, and that's why they think they know what the symbols are on it. Somebody even tried to decipher it at some point over the years, but you know, without that stone, though, man, I wish they could find that thing. All right, moving on. So let's jump over to the swamp now,
Mm.
as they are digging in there, and this is that ramp. So now we've tied this all together. The stone platform that they found, the road that runs from the southeast corner, you've got that little paved area that they found, and then they found the road that turns and goes towards the north and goes all the way up towards the eye of the swamp. And then you've got this ramp and the platform down a little lower, and the ramp that goes up to meet that road. And it's one of those enigmas for me anyway, to try to figure out to answer several questions. First of all, why would they have built it? And Tom shared another picture, and I've got it coming up here at the end. But this ramp does, I mean, they've throughout the process of this last part of the season, they have proven that it is here's the pictures of the different things.
If you just take a look at that, right? Like I don't want to say all over the place to say that they didn't know what they were doing, but there's activity all over the place. Right? So if you're going to build a ramp, you don't build a ramp into someplace you don't need to build a ramp to. You build a ramp to a road.
Exactly. And they've already proven this road running this way. Now they found this ramp that's going here, and it's going between that platform that they found in season 8 and this road, and they're assuming that it goes up this way too. But it begs the question, and again, this is one of those discussions, and I encourage anybody that's part of this, that's watching here tonight, to join us in the Discord channel, because we get into some pretty lively discussions in there sometimes about this stuff. There's different channels for Skinwalker Ranch and Curse of Oak Island and Beyond Our World stuff, but we got on yesterday again. We were in there, and this goes on all the time. It's not just on Tuesdays. But we talk about this stuff, and we were talking about the water levels, and the fact that at one point Rick Lagina had said about 1 foot lower of water level per century going back in time. So, that tells me that if you go back to the 1200s, which is where they've dated this, basically the 1200s, there wouldn't be any need for this ramp in there and the platform and the road, because it would be dry ground, right? That's what I was thinking, but maybe not. That spring has probably always been there. So is it possible that spring, I'm not a full believer that there was
I think
two islands filled in.
The current rise of sea level is 1 foot per 100 year, but I don't know as the current rate of rise in sea level in the 1500s was 1 foot per 100 years. I don't think global warming was to the extent that it is now. The rate of additional water being created was the same as it is now. Right. So, and how much of that is sediment? How much is backfill? How much was caused by storms? How much was caused by erosion? How much has the shoreline changed? Right. It's not the picture of an island, especially like this one, and the shape and the parameters are around the island is not a static picture. Right. You just can't say this is the way the island looked in the year 1400, and here's how much the water's come up the side.
Right.
Because the island has changed shape. The land around it has shifted. Storms have made erosion, man-made things. It's not a static picture.
Right. Seth brought up a good point. He said, am I the only one that thought that they had proven the ramp several episodes ago? That must be real important to get all the screen time. And it is. I mean, and it's not to say that they haven't continued it, but you saw them out there in the rain. The rain was coming down. They're all wearing jackets. It's late. It's fall, and it's cold.
It's October, and it's miserable.
It's getting miserable, and they're out there still scraping it off. So
that North Atlantic fog rolls in there in October. I mean, I live in the Maritimes, folks. It's miserable.
Yeah. You're right, Renee. That's what they were doing. They were looking for the edges. They were trying to make sure before the winter sets in that they knew exactly where the edges of it were and the size of it were in it, so they can document it, and then it'll all get covered up, and they may not ever uncover it again, because then they will know. But
the size and the scale is what's impressive.
Exactly. That's what blows me away on this. So if you think about it, here I go with my speculation again. I really don't ever believe that there was 2 islands there. I'm not a buyer of that. I could be wrong. As you well know, I'm wrong. But if there was always a spring there, and that spring was always dumping water in there, it's always going to be swampy. And maybe if that is there and it had enough water in it at some point with it being a pond or something like that, and like Tom said, you don't know the tomography of the whole island's makeup at that point of time going back that many years. Maybe but what else would they need the platform and the ramp and everything for, but
And
other to pull up boats that do not have much of a draft
Mhm.
up in that area to offload. Now they're going to take a ship. They're going to park a ship out.
Oh yeah.
A ship's going to be anchored out in the deeper
Yep.
water.
Yep. They're gonna haul.
They're going to
Take
they're going to put
dories.
down the skiffs or whatever you call those small boats
Yeah,
down.
dories or whatever. Yeah.
Right, a dory, load it up with men and whatever, and then run that to the shore.
Mhm.
Get to your ramp, unload it there on that platform, and then like Billy had said, you're going to be able to run a wheelbarrow up that ramp.
Mhm.
You know, a cart or something could go right up that ramp and then access the road because it would have been swampy and wet and all that kind of stuff. So that's
And
the only thing I can think of that makes
And
sense.
you don't need a 3-foot or a 300-foot wide channel going in there,
Exactly.
right? It could be what we would call a creek or creek here, right?
Yep.
You know, some
Yep.
of the biggest sailing ships in the world have been built in Marsh Creek here in St. John, New Brunswick, and at the best of times, it's 50 feet wide.
Yeah. Yep.
They bring the boats in at the high tide, take them out at the high tide. Low tide, everything sits on the ground, and the creek's only 50 feet wide at best.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a
Yeah,
300 foot. It doesn't have to be a 300-foot bay there, people. It could be a small channel coming in there.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's really all it was. Wayne brought up a point here wasn't there a dock proven to be in the lower right corner? There was down here in this area, they found this road. Sorry, Terry DeVoe had been looking and thought he saw what looked like remnants of a wharf that was going out this way
Into the water.
into the
rocks.
water. That it was kind of already talked about. And then there was again a wood structure, and I still want answers on this wood structure, but right here in the corner, underneath a pine tree, they found a wood structure.
Yeah, it was log cribbing. Yep.
It was log cribbing, and it looked like it was making a square that I thought was some kind of a tunnel or something, but they uncovered part of it, the top of it, and that was the last we ever saw or heard of it.
No, never heard of it again.
And I don't know why. Why didn't we not get more answers about that? But it was right there in the corner. It was underneath the pine tree. And I was assuming that there was something to be said about it being some sort of a wharf or a dock or something like that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, this is where I think they would have been using this as part of a road as well. I don't know. I just, but it begs the question, why would they have needed something like this back that long ago in the 1200s? And who would have been the people there messing with it back in the 1200s?
Yep.
And the manpower to go through building this thing? I don't know. Still things that need to be answered, I think.
Yeah.
Does it lead to the treasure being on the Oak Island? We don't know. We have no idea if it ties in with that at all.
Yeah, I believe the Restalls did do some work down that corner of the swamp or in different areas of the swamp. Yep.
And maybe that's what that was. Maybe they determined that it was something the Restalls did, and that's why they didn't bother going any farther with it. Could be. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure without getting some answers. Rocks had a very little draft, which made them totally reactive to wind. Could have literally beached on the rock road. Yeah. Yep. This is a picture that Mr. Tom shared with us. And if you take a look at this, I mean, what does that look like to you? Looks like a stone ramp leading up to a road to me, stone road.
And look how small the stretch of water is coming into it.
Yeah.
That's
So
on Grand Manan here in the Maritimes. This
yeah,
is where my brother Bill. So my brother Bill becomes my version of Marty and keeps me honest. Every time I start to go down a wormhole, he goes, "Yeah, but have you ever seen one of these?" And he sends me these pictures.
yeah. Now, any
Yeah.
idea how old this thing is?
No,
Okay.
no. Grand Manan's been visited. I mean that's probably modern. It's a modern day culvert in there. You can
Yeah,
see,
I see the
and whether
culvert.
that was a wooden culvert at one time or not, I mean, who knows?
Right.
But yeah, there's rock structures like this, all around Grand Manan, and we know Grand Manan was visited by the Portuguese back in the 1500s. So, but it just goes to show you that just because we see a structure in one place doesn't mean it's totally unique.
Right. Exactly. Good point. Very good point. Now, and I wanted to ask you too, is this a tide change the water level in here?
Oh yeah,
That's okay.
that's a Bay of Fundy tide. So that depending on how far inland that would be. I mean, if you go right out to the coast, those tides could change 15, 20 feet
Okay.
easily. Yeah,
So there's a good chance. And that's what I was looking at. You can kind of almost see a water line at
that's
high.
probably low tide there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. It kind of looks like they're along this line would be your high tide.
yeah.
And that would be your low tide or
Mhm,
thereabouts. And this is where it would make a perfect ramp, just like the one that we are looking at.
mhm.
Um,
And that
is
could have
this
been
one
built
that
for a
old? We
multitude
just
of
don't know.
purposes, right? That could have been built for, hauling stuff in and out, for moving dulse, moving lobster. Behind that could have been a tidal pond to store lobster. I mean, it could be a whole bunch of different things.
Hmm. And it looks like there's some sort of like a road up here somewhere. It looks like at least on
The
this side.
rock roads along the edges and coast of Grand Manan are pretty common. Yep.
Yep. So there you go. I mean, there's a perfect example of what that ramp and that platform could be. Here's one completely uncovered, and we don't know how old this is, but there you go. I mean, so I'm so glad you shared this
Mhm.
picture. Um,
Helps
there
you to keep
are
an open mind.
yes. Oh, okay. Yes, keep an open
Yeah,
mind.
somebody asked
Exactly.
if they had muon centers in the swamp. Yeah, we showed a diagram a few weeks ago and even
Yep.
last week I think, that
Hmm.
showed there are at least 3 different muon wells along the bottom of Oak Island,
Yeah, along the road,
or
and
along the swamp rather.
yeah, just inside the swamp, along the road that goes around the south end of the swamp. There's three there that we know of, and then there's actually I don't know how many they put out. I really don't know,
I don't know.
but they had mentioned that they were putting them out all over the island. So I think there's a couple up by Tom's property.
Yep.
Well, by the house, I should say, because he
And
owns that whole area.
yeah,
But
we've seen at least 3 different caps that we think are muon well caps in the Money Pit area alone. So
right,
right in close proximity to the garden shaft.
yep, exactly. So yeah, and I don't know that they haven't said a word about it, so I don't
No.
think we're gonna get the data from it even on the season finale. It doesn't appear that way. They didn't tease it anyway in
Mm-hmm.
the commercial. Um, yeah, here's another picture. This is actually looking at this boat, but you can see the ramp again. This is a boat launch.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
and you see the
that would be a dulce or a boat they used to go and pick dulce at low tide. But you can see the bottom part of the ramp down where the yellow kayak is.
yep,
That's a rock ramp,
yep, down here.
and they have eye rings in front of these boats that they use mechanical devices or motors to actually pull these boats all the way up, and they sit on these ramps these concrete modern ramps at low tide,
Yep.
and then you can
Ring
see the
bolts,
bottom. Yeah, exactly. That's what they are, and they look exactly. I could send you pictures of them. They look exactly like them.
like the
Um,
ones they found on Oak Island.
oh yeah, yep, common. But yeah, the bottom part of the ramp is another example of the use of rocks for protection.
Mhm. So there you go. Another great picture. I'm glad you shared that. I really am. So
Mhm,
that really
mhm.
narrows it down. One thing Rick said when he was standing there at the swamp, and I wrote it down because it was a great quote from him. Because you look at okay, so again, you go back to what I was saying about the whole ramp and the platform and the stone road and all that. He said it's clearly obvious human beings made this structure. We
Oh
just
yeah, no
don't know
question about it.
when or why.
And just one more thing on that photo too. You just see one boat there, okay? One dulcer sitting there. There could be 10 across the top of that
Hmm.
ramp at any one point in time, right? So those weren't just made to keep one small boat. You could be hauling in a whole multitude of boats. If you get a lot of people offshore and you're running boats in and out back and forth, right? You could have the top of that thing lined with 10, 15 boats at a time.
Mhm.
And that's why they're so wide.
Yep. Yeah, Linda brings up a good. Remember, don't forget more Italy info on Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern. A 4-hour digging deeper special is happening. So, yeah, that's tomorrow at 8. Yes, nodding. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So, I'll be watching as much as I can. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah, so don't forget about that. So, but again, thank you, Tom, for sharing these pictures because that gets us a perfect look at those that are being used today for this very thing. So good stuff. Absolutely. Oh, and also another point was that Dr. Spooner, Ian Spooner, had told Rick that they found organic matter beneath the stones that can be dated. So we may not hear about that on the season finale. It might be another one of those things we don't hear about until next week. But they did find organic matter and it will be tested. So we'll get a date on that. So, and again, if that thing comes back and says it's about 1200,
Case closed.
case closed. Yeah, as far as the date is concerned, because
As
that's
far as the
now
date,
like 3 or 4 things that have all been dated about that same time period, but we still just don't know who. And we can kind of figure out why. I mean, a boat ramp of some sort, a loading, unloading, or loading dock area, launch area. They would need a good launch area to launch boats to get back out to the big ship that's anchored out. Maybe maybe Jeff can put it on Discord, even though he has something. What am I putting on Discord? I missed that.
I missed it too.
Yeah, whatever that is, I'll try if I can do that.
Send him a note. He'll do it.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thursday. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Discord. I talked about that a few times, folks. If you want to know what that is, Discord. I have a Discord channel. It's Discord, and then it's JFree906 out there. But you can see it. There's a link for it below. Discord is absolutely free program. You do not have to pay for it. You do have to download it. You can put it on your iPad or tablet, whatever device, your computer, PC, whatever, and you can come and join us in Discord. You click on the link below. It'll take you. Once you install it, you can click on the link. It'll take you right to our Discord channel. Actually, I don't even think you have to install it. I think there's a web version you can use too. I don't think you even have to download it and install it. Yes. Well, I don't know. Did they find?
I don't know if they said anything for carbon dating from the rock pile. Did they or did they? I can't recall.
Yeah, Linda's nodding yes. I don't remember. But yeah, I think they did find something that they were going to be able to date.
Mm-hmm.
There was one short little
Okay.
That Laird had found that they could use. Yeah. Oh yeah. Judy says there is a web version, so you don't need to download anything. You can go to discord.com, DISCORD, discord.com, and then you click on my link. It'll take you there. You can be there and help chat with us about Oak Island and stuff and get in on the discussions. It's really cool. There's we got like, I don't know, 60 or 70, 80 people in there now. Not everybody's in there all the time, obviously. Charcoal Jack found tonight or on the show last night. So, yep. Okay, so that goes for the swamp, and I think we're done for that for the season now, it looks like. Yeah, we do have fun in there, don't we, Renee? Oh, look at there. How'd that get in there? Oh, look, there's Zane. Zane got his JFree906 Tumblr yesterday, I think, or today, or yesterday, or something. So he shared this picture with me, and he put it out on our. There he is. Hey, Zane, thank you so much for buying that. You can help support the show by buying one of these. I've got one. I got mine right here that I'm drinking out of, and Tom,
the way he's got that tip back, I'm pretty sure that's not coffee.
Yeah, what's in there, Zane? What do you can put whatever. It keeps things hot and it keeps things cold. So there you go. But yeah, Zane, thank you so much for buying that. Zane, you can get one of those. It helps to support the show. You can get it from our friend Jess Grollo. She was in the chat earlier. You click on there's a link down below in the description. You can click on that. It'll take you right out there to her site. blue6laser.com, and you can get one of these mugs or I call them travel mugs, tumblers. You can get one for yourself out there. I think they're $25. She will ship it to you. And there you go. And it's a little bit to help the show. So, Max got hers today. All right, cool. Thank you, Max. That's awesome. Appreciate that very, very much. Oh, water. It's water. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, sure. That's what they're calling it now, saying good answer.
But yes. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Zane. I really do. It really helps. So, yeah. So there you go. You can get one for yourself right there. Thank you, Zane.
Did we mention that Gary pulled up another knob from the swamp?
Did we talk about that yet?
Did we talk about that yet?
Not yet.
Good. I'd much rather have that twig that Dr. Spooner has.
Yes. Another.
I can date
Arnold.
the twig.
Yes, I agree. All right. So, so at the end of the whole session there in the swamp, they went down with some shovels and they were checking to find the edges of that ramp. And they did. They discovered where the edges are. And then, of course, you get Steven comes out with his GPS, and he will actually get a log of exactly where it is and its elevation all the way. So it's all clearly, documented. Once it is, you can let it be covered back up and away you go, right? All right. So we're going to get moving along there. Oh, gee, Benny Christmas. There it is. Hold on. We're not done with the swamp just yet. I forgot all about it. There's I had to grab this picture of the comedy team of Gary and Jack. I thought somebody had mentioned, I thought Jack was going to fall down when he goes leapfrogging across the rocks there. Gary,
that mud, I thought he was going to go right on his face.
I mean, he's really working. He's hopping his way over there, and he did not go down, and he dug in the ground right there for Gary, and there it is. There's the knob.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's metal. I think it's metal. I don't know.
Yeah, the metal detector set off. So
yeah. Oh, yes. Bing, bing, bing. Hello, Jeff. Yes,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm going to say yes, but unless that thing is made of solid gold, I think that twig is worth way more.
Yes, the twig is worth way more. So there's your knob right there. That's the knob we were looking for. And of course, there they are looking for the edge of the platform. All right. Okay. So we're done with knobs. The last time we saw a knob, we got teased that it was some great piece of gold or some kind of golden thing, which it turned out to be a brass knob.
Again, it's in the swamp. So, I mean, how did it get there? When did it get there? How did it float in, not float in? It's suspect.
Very, very suspect. Absolutely. Quite suspect. All right. So let's do our giveaway. Let's get ready for the giveaway. Again, that is the book from Andre de Robolante. And it's called Irresistible North. And I'll show one more picture of it real quick. That's it right there. And it's talking about from Venice to Greenland on the trail of the Zeno brothers. So great read if you guys want to get that. So you can still buy this. It's out on Amazon. You can buy it or just about anywhere you can get books and all that kind of stuff. So that is what tonight's giveaway is. And Linda's going to come in here and join us, and she's going to do the old spinaroo for it. There she is. Hello, Linda. How you doing?
Good.
All right. By the way, thank you so much for all what you're doing in the chat. I appreciate that so much.
Not a problem.
And every time she types in something, it comes up with my name on it. We haven't StreamYard. I use StreamYard.
They think you are freaking brilliant.
Who, the people watching?
Yes, because you're talking and typing and you got all the answers and what can I say?
Now everybody that comes here on a regular basis knows right now I do not have all the answers. Not even in the slightest. And they still show up, and I'm so glad. You guys humble me so quickly.
They love you.
All right. Irresistible North. Let's do a spinaroo and find out who is going to be the lucky winner on this one tonight.
All right, here we go. There's a ton of names again.
All right. And we're going to have a big one for next week, too. All right. There we are spinning.
Wow, you have a lot of names.
Yeah. There's not enough wheel for all these names. Janet.
Janet.
Janet Scorza. Janet wins the book.
We know Janet's here. And if you will get your information to Renee Cope, she will have that sent to you.
Yep. There you go. All right, Janet. Cool.
All right.
I know she's here. I think I saw her typing earlier.
Yeah, she's here. Next week, the giveaway in this group is going to be
I got a picture of it too. Let me get
my favorite color of tumbler. It is gorgeous.
Mhm.
You got a picture?
I'm going to bring it up.
Okay.
Bring it up. Hold on here. Let me click on that and then click on that. It is right there.
It just says summer. I just love it. It's kind
It
of a
does.
goldeny, yellowy orange.
Mhm.
And Jess made that and sent it to us to give away.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is from that's from Jess Grollo and Blue 6 Laser, where you can get one of these mugs as well, or you can buy one of them. But we're going to be giving that away. That is going to be, that is going to be for next week, the season finale giveaway. And again, if you want a chance to win that travel mug or tumbler, then you go out to our Facebook page. You got to be a member, like I said, and you say yes when you see this post come up. You just say yes in the response in the comments, and you're automatically entered to win. All right.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Linda.
All right. Yes, Jess is awesome. She is. I got to meet her. Oh my gosh, she's been on the show a couple times, and I got to meet her and her husband Mike. Jess, I joined I'm going to tell you this on the air while I'm sitting here thinking about it. I joined a Michigan Bigfoot group yesterday, I think, or day before, and I see your husband is also a member of it. Did you know that?
Well, some things might be better left unsaid.
Maybe, but it's already out there. I just did
Well,
it.
there you go. No,
No, I joined up, and they're actually having there's a Bigfoot thing going on the 20th that I'm going to go to in West Branch. So, but I saw Mike, I saw his name in there, so I thought, it's pretty cool. So, yeah, I didn't know he was somebody that was looking into that like I am. I had no idea. So there you go. All right, let me find where I was here so we can get back to rolling. There we go. All right, got the right picture going. All right, so congratulations. I didn't see. Did she say she was here?
I haven't seen, but
I have not
doesn't
seen
mean anything.
Janet Scorza say she's here.
And usually, yeah, I see her.
Oh, do you?
Yep, 9:36 my time. She was signing.
Well,
So so she must have said something there because a lot of stuff has rolled by since then. So
right, yeah. Well, maybe she dozed off because the show is so riveting.
8:36 your time. Yep.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here. There she is, right there. All right. She didn't doze off. Maybe she dozed off and she woke up again. So, all right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I didn't see your name pop up here. So good. Glad you're here. And congratulations on that book. You'll have to tell us all about it. I have not read it yet. I got the pleasure of talking with Andre myself not in person, but what a fascinating story, the Zeno brothers.
Yeah,
Really.
until 2 weeks ago, I didn't even know these guys existed. So
yeah, very, very.
And then to find out how they tie into other things and who they saw and who they worked for, and you go, whoa, hold it.
Yeah, I know. Sinclair's. Yeah. Pretty interesting couple of guys right there. Interesting story and supposedly true. Some people, I guess there has been some people that have said, oh, no, that's all a bunch of no, but it's pretty well documented. So I don't see how it couldn't be. But all right, here we go. All right, so next we jump over to lot number 5, and we got Laird and Jack continuing to excavate this one. And this is one of those excavations that just goes on and on. Here they are working here, and they find a couple pieces of pottery. Jack finds one. You see where he is sitting up here on the top. He's working that I don't know what, 4-foot wide section of stone that's on the top of it.
Yep.
And of course, Laird's down digging into the inside of that 4-foot wide section of stone. And Jack found a piece of this pottery right here. I think I've got another. Yeah, there's another picture of it right there. And Laird called this a fired clay pottery. Red earthenware was a fired clay pottery that was common in Europe and North America between 17th and 18th centuries.
So why didn't they do the lick test on this? Like,
because Aaron Taylor wasn't.
I mean, they could have dated it right then if they'd done the lick test, right?
Yep.
See if it sticks to your tongue.
Yeah, if it sticks to your tongue, then it's porous. It's more porous, right? Is that what it was? I think that's what it was. Yeah.
But the cool thing about that is, even if they stopped using that pottery, it became outdated in 1750. How long does pottery last, right? Another 10, 15 years, even beyond when you made it. Like, it's going to dry out, crack, break, whatever.
Yep.
It still puts us 50 years in front of the money pit. Right? That somebody was throwing that stuff in there.
Right. And we know that there was people living on the island, and there was lots being sold and all that stuff. People owned those lots. But again, I don't know, the stone structure.
Yeah, as Laird says, somebody built and occupied. And he's used the word occupied 3 or 4 different times now. Occupied and occupation.
Yep.
Which means he's determined that somebody has been there for some purpose in and about 1750 or before, because they're not finished. Laird says he wants to finish there before the year is over. So after October, he's going to have to move pretty quick. But, occupied, abandoned, and then filled with rocks and pottery. And then filled with. Right? So how old is this pit?
I don't know, but it's the pit that keeps on giving on lot 5. Because not just moments later, Laird finds another piece of what he thinks is the same exact piece of pottery. It's the same glazing on it. It's the same red earthenware, fired clay. So, so he finds it just moments later. Now he's down inside, and he finds it down there, which that's when Laird says, well, and again, using that word that you just said, Laird finds a piece of the earthenware inside the feature that makes him believe that the feature was built, occupied, abandoned, and then filled in with rocks and pottery. Laird explains that the early pottery on lot 5 could mean that this is the earliest occupations on the island.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. And that's at the level that they're at now. And they know they're going to, when we see later in the show, they're going to continue to go deeper because there's more to find.
Yeah. And that's what Laird said. He said they keep finding more and more fragments of materials down there. And that's where he's talking right here. And I captured this picture because he's talking about where you got Jack sitting up on top, and Laird's working into that area that Jack is sitting on. And Laird is just motioning right there saying, that he's pushing back into that area, that 4-foot ledge of rocks that's up there. He's digging back in there, and he's going to, excavate that a little bit further. And you got the guys coming out, Rick and Marty and Alex coming out to check things out. And down here is where Laird is coming. He's going this way.
Yep.
Looking into and digging into that. And I loved when I loved when he came over there and he's talking about this. And he said something that rang beautiful to Marty. We're going to need heavy equipment to come in here and dig this out. And,
get my backhoe. We're here to play.
Go grab the backhoe.
Well, and that made me wonder all along, like when you see the size of those rocks, 2 guys didn't grab those and move them in there. So they had to be moved there with some sort of, animal or levers, leverage, tripods, whatever. He just didn't pick them up and roll them.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so we're going to, there it is. And there it is going back. You can see that there's that, if this top section up here, whoops, I got my marker going. If this top section up here was just a single layer of rocks, that'd have been one thing. Look at that. They go all the way down there.
Yeah.
Now, do they go down there all the way for that 4 feet? It seems likely at this point that it does. And as you heard, Rick and Marty were talking about a fortification or a foundation of some sort of fortification or a building or something like that, having that would have been the way that they made uh, foundations, I guess,
Yeah, for
right?
a castle or some sort of structure
Tower,
that's going to maintain a significant amount of weight above it.
right? So they dig a trench 4 feet wide and 4 or 5, 6 feet deep,
Mhm.
and fill it full of rock and stone, and then fill it in with dirt, and that's going to hold that weight
Mhm.
of whatever's built on top.
Yeah.
So, the pit house and all that kind of stuff, which we were kind of thinking, I guess it still could be a pit house, but that's an awful lot of work for a pit house.
Mhm.
I was on board with the whole pit house idea until I saw this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know now.
Hard to say. Or again, another multiple use facility, right?
There you go. Could very well be.
Like you said, it was built, occupied, abandoned. How
And
many
maybe
times?
reused. Yeah.
How many times? Yeah.
We don't know.
And we still don't know for sure how deep it goes.
No. And and that's something that if Laird didn't get a chance to finish this last year, we know we'll see it finished this year for sure to get, but that's the thing that when, when they're up there talking up on the bank right there, and that's when Jack said, this could be the hatch off from Zena's map.
Yep.
And here is Zena's map. And there's the hatch. It says the hole under the hatch.
Yep.
And now I was thinking that this was like lot 2 or 3 over here. But again, this was a drawing. It's not, we don't know. It's not made to scale. We know that.
No. And those drawings were verbally told to people too, right? Cartographers or whoever drew them. And this is a copy of what somebody already had, right?
Yeah, exactly. Good point, Kate.
So-
Reminds me of a Scottish Brock defense castle. Yeah, some sort of, maybe, again, you go back to that foundation. That's an awful heavy duty foundation for a pit house or whatever it may have been.
You
I
look at
think
some of the old fortifications around, New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Maritimes. Those old fortifications have a couple here in St. John. One's called Fort Howe. It's a rock structure. It's built in a circle, and they're probably 15, 20 feet high. Right, and inside there would be your barracks for your soldiers or whatever. Yep. And they're built in a circle.
Yeah.
But if they did, and that would lead you to believe that, okay, if they built this as a foundation for something, it didn't get finished because there's no other debris around it.
Right. Yeah. If it was some sort of a tower of some sort or whatever, where's all the rock around the outside of it on the ground? Or, if it was wood, it would have to be an awful big structure for wood for them to need that much of a foundation for wood.
Kind of a base for wood, I wouldn't think. No.
So maybe it was never finished. Like you said, maybe it was just a swimming pool.
As Laird says, built and abandoned.
Cement pond.
Yeah.
The wood overlay 13 feet, add a cannon and a few men. I don't know. I don't know. I hope we get an answer on what it is, if they can figure out anything about it. If they can. So anyway, could it be the hatch? Yeah, I guess it really could be the hatch. What does that mean, though? There's a hole under the hatch. Where does that hole go? Now you look at these words here, and again, we've talked about this, about the French words and how their context or their actual meaning is changed by the way they're, written out.
Yep.
I mean, does that actually say in French a hole under the hatch, or could it be interpreted a little differently than that? Yeah, Laird will tell us what he can. You're exactly right.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And speaking of Laird Niven, I knew that's what you were doing. Thank you for that reminder, Linda. Laird Niven's coming on the show. And guess who's coming with him? Emma. Emma's coming on the show. Emma and Laird will be here, folks.
This should be good.
This is going to be a great show. we have the new young star of the Curse of Oak Island, Emma Emma and Laird will be here on Wednesday night, the 31st at 7:30. Wednesday night, the 31st at 7:30. Emma and Laird Niven are coming on the show. Emma
Yeah.
Cullig, thank you.
And we will find out if they got to the bottom of the circle
Yes.
alive.
Yes. I was so stoked when I was talking to Laird about this. And he mentioned, that Emma was going to, and I said, have you talked to her? And he goes, no, but she's going to do it. And I was like, are you sure? We did. He said, Helen, we did reach out to Helen as well, or he did. And he said, Helen is going to be an absolute no. She just doesn't want to do this kind of thing. And that's fine. We understand that. She knows she's invited and can always come, but she did not. But Emma is coming. So isn't that cool? I'm excited.
Very cool.
Yeah. Emma and Laird are going to be here. That's the 31st at 7:30. It's a Wednesday night. It's going to take the place of the Oak Island shows because, of course, the season will be over. Or we'll get more information as we go along.
So you got 3 weeks. 3 weeks to get your questions ready, people.
Yes, get your questions ready. If you and I have to tell you that too. Please join our Facebook group and get your questions in there. Now, if we get a ton of them, we'll do our very best to get to most of them. I can't guarantee we'll get to all of them because there will be so many. And then, and we just kind of let them go and talk about whatever they want to talk. But get your questions ready. Get them submitted to us on the Facebook group. I think Linda may even put out a post and say, questions for Laird, post them here. And so that's the way we'll do it. Because during the show, I know you're going to ask a lot of questions, but I just can't. I try to focus on what our guests are doing and saying and all that, and keeping myself straight. And we'll have your questions on paper and we'll ask them. But isn't that cool? Can't wait for that. It's going to be awesome.
The chat goes by so fast, and when you're focused on what other people are saying, you just don't get a chance to read it.
Yeah. It's hard enough for me to keep up with the chat just during a regular Oak Island recap, but yeah, when we have guests on like that, it goes by super fast, and I can't keep up with it all. Kat said trap. The last word, la trap. The trap or pitfall. That's this word here. Mm-hmm. The trap or pitfall. I was trying to look back and see what else is in here. If anybody else answered any of that, but so I don't know. Emma who? Somebody asked Emma who said that. Scrolling back, I saw that real quick. Yeah, Emma Culligan. Anyway, so yeah, that's going to be awesome. Please don't be offended if your questions in the chat are likely going to be ignored. That's why we need them ahead of time. Exactly. I just
and not even ignored. We just won't see them.
Yeah. It's not because I'm trying to ignore it. I just don't see them. They just fly by. Anyway, so the trap, right? So the hatch or the hole, is that the hole under the trap? I don't know. That's going to be
depends on which version of the French English dictionary you want to use, I guess.
Right. Exactly.
And when it was printed.
So yeah, if that turns out to be the trap, then and if it's listed on Xena's map, again, that adds more validity to Xena's map. I'm telling you. And Marty always said Xena's map, if true. But I mean, and that Rick stands behind it. He when she donated all of her research to Rick Lagina. Mm-hmm. And he absolutely, thought the world of her.
Yep.
Yeah, really, really very smart lady. And she really had a lot of stuff that I but more of the things on her map and this stuff and her book are coming to be found true.
Yeah.
Will you put up a place for our questions to be posted? Yes, she will, Tim. She'll put that in like I said, you need to be part of our Facebook group, The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond. There's a link for it down below. And she will put up a post asking people for their questions, and she'll probably even pin it so it's pinned up for a while. But she'll ask for the questions for Laird and or Emma or both. And that's where, and we will do our very best to get to them. I can't guarantee we'll get to all of them.
No.
And a lot of times people ask multiple. We will recognize who asked the question on the show, but sometimes there's multiple people asking the same question. So,
Yeah.
which name do we put on it? I'll say multiple people, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll do our best with that, as we always try to do our very best for you guys on those things. So, all right. Lastly, we jump over to the war room. And then we get a look at the guys. There's Emma right there.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's in there, and then you've got Craig, and also Chris McFarland.
Yep.
On video conference.
Who's at UNB?
Yep.
Which is still in New Brunswick.
They're never going to live that down, are they?
Well, no, not with me wearing one of the rings. No.
Exactly. Yeah, it'll be after the finale when she puts that post up. So keep that in mind. It won't be happening tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no.
After the finale next week.
Yep.
So just watch for it after the finale. Are they filming the new season yet? Well, let's just say that they're out there.
There's lots of people floating around the island.
There's a lot of people floating around on the island right now. Yes. So thank you, Craig. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, sir. All right. So they get inside in the war room here. And of course, Chris McFarland is a professor of geochemistry, Dr. McFarland, and he's on video conference, and he's meeting with the group to give them the results of the testing that was done on that lead barter token that they had found that looked like the petrified Ritz cracker. And there he is there. And there is the Ritz cracker. So he's given his assessment of this thing. Yes, it does, David. That's very true. So the laser ablation was done on this thing, and I love this laser ablation where they actually take little they laser little bits, little tiny little spots like these here. They laser little spots in it that makes that kind of it kind of burns the lead, and then takes that burnt and then it analyzes.
It basically vaporizes it
Yeah, and then it tests it.
Analyzes the contents of the vapor.
Right. So the laser ablation was done on the artifact to identify the isotope values that will help determine where and when the lead originated from. Dr. McFarland says that the item has a thick crust on it, which and has been buried for hundreds of years. He said, yeah, not just a few years, hundreds of years is what he said. But the isotopes value look very much like that was on the lead cross. The team discusses the fact that the token was found near the circular stone feature and the possibility of it having been in the feature at one time. Dr. McFarland will try to find more info on the lead token for the team in the days to come. So, again, there you go, finding a piece of that. They know that the lead is from France, right? The lead cross was from southern France. You're on mute, Tom. I think you said.
There we go. Yeah, no, just some background noise here. Yeah, and again, southern France. But again, I'm always big on picking up on people what they say exactly, right? And Chris calls it similar to the cross. He says it's a French source, and it's essentially identical to the lead cross.
Essentially identical to, yeah. Yep. So again, you look at the lead cross. Why is it there? Why would it be there in the first place? And who would have brought it there? And who would have lost it and not went looking for it? Or, and they found it in Smith's Cove. We know that Smith's Cove's been dug up and pushed back and dug up. I mean, I think even Dunfield was down there bulldozing in Smith's Cove.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody's had a crack at that place.
we don't know for sure the depth at which the lead cross would ever have originally been. We just don't know because of all that churning of the soil. As Tom and Colin have mentioned several times, is the lead cross too heavy to have been something to have been washed up on the shore? Absolutely not.
No.
It's definitely not too heavy. The big storms that come in, the hurricanes and whatever that come through there, easily could have pushed it up onto the shore.
Yeah, it's going to wash up just like a pebble.
So when did it show up? We have no idea. How deep would it have been originally? And maybe it was deeper and it got pushed over there through all the excavations of the Smith's Cove over the years. We just don't know for sure. But that's where it was found. And it was not planted. There's people that said, oh, Gary planted it. No, he didn't. He didn't plant it.
No.
Now we find this, and we know that this barter token was found in lot 5, very close to the stone circle. And what did Gary say about how deep it was? Didn't he?
It's like a foot deep, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a foot deep in the ground where he found this. So
it's been there a while.
It's been there a while. So, again, he's going to get more information. Or maybe it washed up on shore after 1965 and there's more stuff in the ocean. That's a good point, Ray. That's a very good point. It could have. I mean, how many hurricanes have gone through there?
Anything you find right along the shoreline, goodness knows how long it's been there, where it came from.
Yep. And Gary knows this full well because he's down metal detecting on the beaches in Florida all the time. And if you ask him, when is the best time to go hit the beach for metal detecting? Right after a big storm. Because not only do things get washed up, but oftentimes a lot of the sand that's on the beach will get pulled back out to the ocean and then uncover maybe a foot or 2 or 3 or 4, 5 feet. There's been some even more feet than that of sand has been removed from beaches. And that's when they find artifacts that have been buried in that sand.
When we had the hurricane or post-tropical storm, I guess, as you want to call it, go through the Maritimes, Atlantic Canada here last summer, it moved, 50, 60 foot sand dunes gone, on Prince Edward Island.
Yep.
It's like they were never there.
Yep. Yeah. David said with 3 items having the same isotope, they didn't wash up or get planted. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they didn't get planted. No, I don't think they got planted. I agree with you there. Anything that's on the beach is somewhat suspect of being washed up, but I don't know. Again, a hurricane. If you talk about the boulder, the size of what was said to be pushed up onto the land there in Mahone Bay by that drugstore or whatever it was.
By the restaurant, yeah.
By the restaurant. That's crazy right there. That's a massive storm that can do something like that. So, anyway. So, yeah, very, very good. I can't wait to see what else he comes up with when he finishes doing his testing on that thing. So, yeah, Gibbs rule number 39. I like that. I'm one of those people that don't believe in a coincidence either. Yeah. Water is a powerful thing. Yes, it is. All right. Yeah, we got talking last night. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
I can say you stop a lot of things, but you don't stop Mother Nature.
No, you don't. Absolutely not. Yeah, we got talking last night about that pilum, that Roman, that thing that looked like a crossbow bolt at one time in that pilum. And then we got talking about the fact of trying to think of the guy's name, Longinus, the staff of Longinus, or I forgot what that's called now, but it was the spear that jabbed Jesus when he was on the cross to make sure he was dead. And we were talking about that pilum, Pilam, that was found by Gary on the beach, that was metal, and they thought it was part of one of those the Roman weapon. Why would that be on the island? And you go back to some of these Roman type things that they've been finding. The Spear of Destiny. Thank you, Ray. The Lance. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Bates Paints. Lance of Longinus. And
Yep,
that
that's
spear,
right. Yep.
that spear piece that they found. And if you talk about art, religious artifacts that may have been brought over to Oak Island, I don't know. It was one of those, Pillium. Thank you. Pillium. It's one of those things that, make you wonder.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those
Absolutely.
conversations that we get into in Discord. So you have a cross on the shore, a spinner buried in the ground. I don't think it's a spinner, and a lead pin found near the tar kiln. Yeah, I know. And yeah, well, yeah, all kinds of different stuff, right? Um, okay. All right. Lastly, the last part of the show, we jump over to the garden shaft once again. There's all the guys, and they are over there at this point. And the reason why they're there is because they are now trying to drill into the wood that we talked about earlier that they probed about 91 feet. And then they put that casing down there. And now they're going in there with the drill and trying to drill through it. And there they are working on it now. And they're trying to bust through it. And in here we are, we're all watching this, at least, me, I'm watching this and I'm watching that drill going around and around and around, and it's not going down. And I'm like, what kind of drill is this that they're using? First of all, is it a very aggressive bit on the bottom? I mean, so the lid bag seal. What's going on with this thing? Why is it not digging into wood? If that's truly just wood down there, you would think that drill bit should be able to dig into it. So it's going and going and going, and it's not moving, and eventually they get to the point where they just give up and pull it back up out of there. Now Marty had said something about they got one more day. Now I don't know. Does that mean is that one more day on their permit?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's something I kept thinking about because they keep talking about one more day, and I have to think that maybe it has to be talking about their permit. Because if they wanted to, they could still keep working, even though the weather is getting nasty cold and rain and temperatures and wind and everything else is starting to happen for winter setting in, late fall, early winter setting in. But they could keep going. But I was thinking maybe it has to do with permits. It's all about permits. Yeah.
Could be permits, or it could be Dumas's contractual obligation someplace else.
Right. But they kept saying we have one more day. Marty wanted to. He thought, well, can we probe another hole? And that's when Paul said, no, we don't have time for another hole.
No.
So they're going to have to go back into this one and try to get down in there again. Now, my thinking is that they are going to bust through next week. Let's see. Let me get back to Jan's synopsis here for a moment. Roger tells the team that they are at 91 or 92 feet and they are sitting on something wood. Dumas begins to drill and the drill hits something. They do not know what they are hitting, but the drill is not advancing. Finally, the drill advances about 2 inches, but then stops. And the team decides to remove the drill and see if there is anything on it. And so there they pulled it up, and here he is checking the bottom of the drill bit, and he finds a little tiny piece of wood. Now, when I saw this piece of wood at first, I'm like, you got to be kidding me, really?
Exactly. It's exactly what I thought. Exactly what I thought. I went.
I was so deflated. I'm like, oh, really? But apparently, Marty and Rick both said there's enough there to get a sample to do the dating on it. That's
going to be interesting. Let's see the date on that baby.
Yeah. Now, will we find that out next week? I don't know.
Yeah, carbon dating, like it's going to depend. Did they have to, add it in later, right? By the time they send it away and get it back,
Yeah.
certainly not going to be within 5 days.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they can get can we put an express dating on that thing? Can we pay extra for express dating so we can
Yep.
tell everybody in the season finale?
And if
But
this
anyway.
was all being done at the same time that Laird was digging on lot 5, we know that's October.
Yeah. Yes, we do, because we got to look at his notebook and his doctor scribbling in the notebook. We were trying to read some of it today. Sorry, Laird. Yes, we were trying to read it. They showed it on the there was a picture of it. But we know it was dated October, right?
Mhm.
How can we get all this info on a lousy 1 hour finale? I know, right?
Skip the commercials.
skip the commercials. That's a good way to do it.
Mhm.
But anyway, so one little piece of wood. Are we going to find out the date on this bad boy? Probably not. It might be in a follow-up show. We don't know for sure, but they did say it was enough to carbon date, and the team discusses the option for a drill hole. They will return tomorrow and use a 6-inch bit, and then try to punch through and get through that wood with the 6-inch bit.
Yep.
So commercials are such a waste. Yes, they are. Navy dogs. That's I agree with you 100%. Yeah. And add an hour. Skip the commercials and add an hour. I know, right? So I don't know. But I tell you what, we did get a sneak peek. Huh?
Commercials are that necessary evil, right?
They are a necessary evil. You
No
get
commercial,
43
no
minutes
show.
for the show, and yeah, 43 minutes for the show and 17 minutes of commercials.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, so we did get a look at next week's show, and I wanted to show a few pieces of this. First of all, we got Mr. Laird Niven digging a little deeper, working his way. Now he's well into that area where Jack was sitting. Now you can see the layer of the rocks up here. One thing that Mr. Tom pointed out in this picture was that right there.
It looks like a hole to me
It looks like a hole.
because you can't see any dirt at the bottom of it.
Let's try to zoom in on that hole just a little bit. Whoever filled this in, either they missed a spot or there's a hole there. So that's pretty interesting. And it shows that rock foundation, I'm going to call it now for lack of whatever else to call it, goes down that deep.
Yep.
Could it be a void? Craig says, yeah. Just a rock removed, Craig? Possibly. Or Coach? Possibly. We just don't know yet. But remember, and this is something that Navy Dogs just said, when he was tapping on it with his trowel, it sounded like it sounded hollow.
Sounds hollow. Yep.
Could it be a back door? Robert asks.
Could it be a cellar, another cellar, sub-cellar, like we've seen on the ball foundation?
Maybe. What if they open that up and they find pirate treasure down there or something? That would be worth. I got a feeling they're going to open it up and find something they did not expect, and all it's going to do is ask more questions.
Yep.
What do you think is that? Is that what's going to happen? They're going to open it up. They're going to find something that dates to a really weird date, and it's going to just give them more questions to try to search answers for. But interesting, though. I'm glad they kept going. And Laird, I got to hand it to him, man. You kept on going with this. You didn't give up with this excavation, and now you found more. He
knew he wasn't done, right? And he's trying to get it done before winter sets in on him.
Yeah. A skeleton. Oh, wouldn't that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
We don't want a skeleton to be found because it's all stop right there because it's a grave site.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything but a skeleton. Well, maybe not anything, but most anything but a skeleton I'm going for. But interesting. Yeah. Is the money pit 111? Also, they get on the table. Now we see this at the season finale of every season. They go through and they put out all the more important things that they found throughout the season on the table, and they talk about them. And I'm glad they do this, because when they have the 2-hour episode, I hope they don't spend 15 minutes on this segment. But when they do the 2-hour episode, it's nice to see this, because you kind of go, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah. And you're able to kind of put the pieces together to answer some of the questions that we had throughout the season. Is the radius was 7 feet and it's a diameter of 13 feet. So it was created by the Knights Templar in 1307. But wow.
You can't rule it out.
Oh. Jeff needs a new trial. Yeah, I don't know what's in that white box. Is that the white box? I would say that's the white box that
Yeah, that's that folded piece of metal, isn't it?
that's that
Like
folded
metal.
piece of
Yeah,
copper or
with the
green
inscription on it.
copper or whatever it was.
Yeah, with the inscripted pattern or whatever on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That was the thing that Gary showed to Maddie during the pre-show to the season premiere at the start of season 10. That I'm almost positive that's what it was, and it was that folded.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that folded.
I think so.
Yeah. I don't remember this. What's that? This right here.
Don't know.
Anybody have any idea what that is? I don't remember that showing up anywhere.
I don't recall that one.
Yeah. Interesting. We know the staple that was found, that was in the quadrilateral.
Mhm.
And this remote control, I don't know where they found that at. I mean, what's the date on that bad boy?
Yeah. Well, Radio Shack's obsolete now, so
Yeah.
they found a Radio Shack somewhere.
It's a relic.
Yeah.
It's a relic of stores gone by. Yeah, somebody noted, I saw it go by on the chat. What's missing from this table? What is the one item?
Yeah. Well, I already teased Linda about it once tonight, so I'm going to leave it alone.
What's the one item that is missing from this table? The blue gemstone something or other thing that's copper and blue stones in it. Yes, Eva. That's what's missing from this table. They've not shown that blue gemstone. Yeah, Jeff caught it at the beginning of the season. Yeah, I don't know, Jenny. It's not on this table. Okay, so what does that mean? If that item is not on this table, what does that mean? It could mean one of two things. Either one, we're never going to see it, and it was just a big tease for the whole thing.
Yeah,
or
two, proved to be nothing. Yeah,
proved to be nothing, but yet it really looked cool to tease everybody with. And they've been showing it all season. They showed that in one of the promos before the season started. They showed that thing. So it's been around for a long time, but here's what I'm going to throw this out and see if I'm right. What am I, about 50-50 on being right? Next week, here's what I'm hoping. They punch through into that tunnel. They put a camera down in the hole, because remember what I said before, when they showed that thing, it looked like it was underwater.
Mm-hmm.
They punched through that wood in the bottom of the garden shaft. They put a camera down there, and that's what they see. All right. I'm rolling the dice, and that's what I'm going for. Oh, 60-40? Okay. Oh, that's pretty funny. Where's the pin with the coral? I think that is right there.
It's right there. Yep.
I think that's it right there. It says
brooch, isn't it?
Brooch lot 26. That's it right there. Yeah, that's it right there on the table. And pottery, of course. And I tried to catch, because the camera kind of zooms a little bit. I was trying to catch it, what's on the edge of the table down here at the bottom that we don't get to see. But I did not see. And if that copper thing with the blue stones was on there, it would be in the middle of the table. I don't think it'd be. I think it'd be over in front of Marty or Rick. It's not going to be hidden over way over on the edge of the table. That's going to be a pretty prominent piece. Yeah, Gary detects something at the bottom. Is it possible that that piece that they showed and teased us with at the very beginning doesn't show up until the season finale? Oh, it's quite possible.
Yeah.
But what's going to happen if it doesn't? I'm done with this show. I'm done. I'm not going to talk about season 11 at all.
Sounds like a perfect cliffhanger.
Yeah. It does. It does sound like a perfect cliffhanger. If they find that at the bottom of the garden shaft or punching through into the tunnel that's underneath, yeah, that would be a very good cliffhanger. Because what does that tell you? If they see something like that in the tunnel, down there in the bottom of the garden shaft, what else could it mean besides we found it? At least we found part of it.
They found something, yeah.
They found something that has some treasure down there.
It means there's a season 11.
Yes, it means there is definitely a season 11. I love that. That's great. That's what it means. All right. And then, of course, you got the metal detecting. Gary gets a hit and he said, it's non-ferrous. It's non-ferrous. There he is. He's down there with his metal detector down there. So Gary got to go down in the garden shaft.
Could that be what Gary pulls up next week?
Could it be?
And they just take a shot of it and it's covered in mud and slime and
yeah, maybe so. Is it Tuesday yet? I know, right, Keith? And look at that face.
That's a happy camper.
Look at that face.
Mm-hmm.
And he's holding something in his hand.
It looks like it, yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
at first I thought he was holding the ladder, but I don't think he is.
He's holding something in his hand right there. What is that something? Non-ferrous is very exciting. Yes, it is. The biggest grins I've seen on Marty's face. Now, we've seen Rick grin a little bit like that. But we have not seen Marty grin like that all season long. Are these two happy guys right now? Or right then, at that moment? Yeah. We'll find out next week, won't we?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And don't forget, next week, 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday night, Tom and I, Colin, if he's back from his business trip.
And a special guest.
And a special guest popping in to say hi. Next week, 7:30, right here. Guys, you don't want to miss this one. I tell you, it's going to be a fun show. And don't forget, we're going to be giving away that tumbler. How do you say that again? Sempre Avante? Something like that?
I'll let Linda look after that.
Yeah, Linda's nodding, so I must have been close anyway. I had to have been pretty close. Oh, wait. What? She sent a picture? What's that? Oh, what is this? Laird Niven. New season, new trowel. Oh, we got to show this real quick. Don't go away just yet. Look at that. What's that? New season, new trowel. Can anyone figure out the symbolism? My son recognized it right away.
Looks like the head of a spear.
Yeah, it does. It does look like the head of a spear. And I've seen this symbol somewhere. It's three legs in a running position, making like a
It's a bricklayer's trowel, isn't it?
It says solid forged archaeology trowel by spearandjackson.com.
Well, Spear and Jackson, there you go. There's your spear.
So that Laird said new season, right? Ding, 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 ding. So they must have found that non-ferrous item down there with the blue stones in it, maybe, possibly.
Yep.
And that says there is going to be a season 11. All right, folks, I tell you what, it's been a lot of fun. I tell you, I enjoy this so much, and I enjoy you guys all coming out here and joining Tom and Linda and myself and Jan and the whole team that helps put this all together. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I have had an absolute blast. Tom, what do you think?
I don't know how I agree with everybody else. There's no way you pack this all into 42 minutes next week.
I don't know how it's possible.
I don't know how they're going to do it, but
I don't either. I really don't know. All right, folks, before you go too, also tomorrow night, there is no, we'll have Bigfoot coming up again next week on Thursday night. I've got another group coming on. They're going to be talking about their adventures and research looking for the elusive cryptid Bigfoot. But nothing tomorrow night. And then Friday night, Skinwalker Ranch episode number 4. And tomorrow night, if you're an insider, they will have the revelations for episode number 4 tomorrow night for the insiders. And that's always a fun thing. And they tell us, oh my gosh, people, you wouldn't believe, if you're not an insider and you're into this show, you really need to check it out. Do the free trial, if nothing else, just so you can check it out tomorrow night. Yes, thank you, Zane. Appreciate that. Thumbs up, folks. But yeah, so we're going to be talking episode number 4 on Friday night, and we've got we got one special. Well, I'm going to say 2 special guests, because we have Shannon DeSalvo, who does the Insider's Insights with me, is going to be joining me as a guest talking about Skinwalker Ranch in general, and Pete Kelsey's coming back on. Pete Kelsey is he's been all over the place, and he's going to be giving us a photogrammetry 101 and LiDAR 101 little talk about all that stuff. Friday night, 7:30, right here in the J Free 906 podcast. We hope to see you here. Good night, folks. Good night, Tom and Linda and Jan. Thank you all for being here. Yep. Have a great rest of your week. See ya.